Yale have estimated what the impact of that is going to be on the economy. And what we've concluded is that you're going to see price increases for the average American family of around $2,400 annually, and a smaller economy, because less growth and less investment in this country means fewer jobs by around 0.5 percentage points of GDP, which is about $150 billion. That boils down to like $1,000 out of every American family's pocket, because the economy is going to be smaller than it would have been in the absence of this trade war.
Maybe that explains why Josh Hawley wants to hand out $600 rebate checks for the tariffs that people are going to be paying now.
Yeah, I don't know about that idea, because part of the issue of bringing in the tariff money is to help alleviate some of our national debt, I think, and to pay for other priorities. I mean, I hear your talking points, but look, GDP came in at 3%.
Those are
You
also
mean the
known.
data?
You all can laugh, but
There's a
GDP
difference
is
between
3%.
talking
The
points and
market's
facts,
at
and it
record
sounds like
highs. People are
Hold on.
investing in America. I don't.
Okay.
This doom and gloom
Scott, let me clear this up. Let me
July.
clear this up for you, Scott. What you just said were talking points. What she just said were facts.
GDP is 3%.
I mean,
the market is
yeah,
up. Companies are deals are being cut.
GDP is 3%. GDP this year so far, for the first 2 quarters of this year, is an average of 1.2%. For all of 2024, it was 2.8%. So really, we're actually growing at on average at a. And I don't even want to overstate this, but if you're using GDP as a metric,
it just came out.
I'm just pointing out that if you look at it over the course of the time that Donald Trump has been in office, the number is not a terribly impressive number. But let me let Natasha respond, because
to Abby's point about the 3% that you're quoting, Scott, I think it's actually really quite important to put it in context. So here are some more numbers. It's true that growth at this point last year was more like 2.4%. It's also true that in November, when we predicted what growth was going to look like based on the economic trajectory, we were anticipating growth in the first half of this year of around 2.2%. What we've actually seen is growth at around 1.2%. And that is
what was it in the last quarter? It was 3% after his policies fully took
I think
office.
it would be useful.
I mean, Scott, do you understand that there's a first quarter and a second quarter? And when you take first and second and you average them together,
understand he took
you
over
get a
in the first
number
quarter,
that is
and the first full quarter of his
1.2%.
administration was the second
I mean, these
quarter?
are just numbers.
Expectations.
It's just math we're talking
Why
about.
are you down-talking the United
Why are you
States?
fighting about math? It's just math. Okay?
Why are you fighting the policies that are working?
Because
Go ahead, Lee.
most Americans don't speak math. Said, I'm having such a hard time right now because there's 2 things that I've always thought of myself as: an American and a Jew. And he's like, and right now I feel isolated from both communities, and it is the weirdest feeling. And I think a lot of people feel like that. They know what's happening, they can see what's happening, and they want it to stop.
We have to address, I mean, I agree with you. Young people are seeing things with their own eyes. And what they're seeing is massive amounts of propaganda. Look what the New York Times had to admit to just in the last few days. I've heard repeat.
What did the New York Times
They admitted
running a photo that was a complete and total hoax.
They admitted that they ran a photo of a starving child who also had a disease.
You're gonna defend
Is that
this?
the admission?
It's
Scott,
a
you're
hoax.
gonna act like people
and
aren't
it was
starving?
sent around the world to make people
Scott,
think that Israel
what
had
about
starved that child. He had a pre-existing
What
condition.
about all the other children in that story? What about them? Are they a hoax?
Abby, there is a coordinated propaganda campaign right now to paint a distorted picture of what's happening.
Are all of those other children a hoax?
Some of them are. There have been other stories about children that Israel is
a hoax?
actually paying to have taken care of for their pre-existing conditions.
There have been 25 people
President Trump
who
has
died of
admitted there's
starvation.
starvation in Gaza.
And on top of
Scott,
that,
hang on a second. You just claimed that this whole thing
they
was
ran a
hoax.
correction. They ran a correction.
What you claimed was that all of these young people, not just young people, but everybody in the world, the photos that they're seeing, the stories that they're reading, the first-person accounts are a hoax? Are they a hoax?
I'm saying that the photo that the New York Times ran and then ran a correction on is a part of a propaganda campaign that is occurring right now.
I do not agree with you on the New York Times photo, but let's say that one was wrong. They ran a correction. Fine. What about all of the other children?
Sure.
What about all of the other
hoaxes?
So when you say that this is a hoax, Scott,
Wait.
Scott, I'm putting a stop to the talking points. Okay? That's what I'm doing here.
Are you?
Because I'm talking about human beings.
When are we going to put a stop to the propaganda?
Listen.
So this lady from the Yale Budget Lab lists off a bunch of consequences they predict from Trump's tariff policies. And the panel just nods along like, But then Scott just says, I hear your talking points. They all burst out laughing like he's just admitted he doesn't understand economics or something. Then Abby throws out that smug correction. Those are facts, Scott. I don't think you know the difference, or whatever she said. Facts. What is she talking about? It's a fact that the Yale Budget Lab made a prediction, sure. That doesn't make the prediction itself a fact. That's like calling a weather forecast a hurricane. Meanwhile, Scott's listing back to you actual data about GDP growth, market resilience, and foreign investment pouring into the U.S. And then the following sequence of events makes no sense to me. And this is where Abby starts getting weird. Like she was just having a big laugh, and then she starts tone policing Scott like he's in detention. She's like, we don't do talking points. Someone at CNN is saying we don't do talking points here. Leave them at the door.